Good afternoon, Andrew Wasson from CreativeGuitarStudio.com. Today is Thursday, August 17th, 2023, and I just finished filming the Friday Patreon Plus lesson that covers taking a guitar lick in the key of G through some resolution as both major and minor tonality. It comes out tomorrow on my main YouTube channel. And basically, I'm taking a break now. I'm not going to be doing too much for a while. I'm going to jump on my motorcycle. A lot of you were asking before what kind of bike that is. It's a 2011 Harley-Davidson Super Glide Custom. So great bike. I have nothing but great things to say about it. It's been fantastic so far. I've owned it now. This is my second year of ownership. I purchased it from the original, second owner, but it had such low mileage. It might have may as well have been the original owner. It was only a couple thousand miles on it, and that's it. So the engine's not even really broken in on the thing. So I'm having a blast with that, and that's what I'm going to do tonight. I'm just going to go for a boot on the motorcycle and kind of just take in a lot of fresh air, basically. But what I wanted to do here this time around is do a video on the importance of really never giving up. And there's a little bit more to this than just having that steadfast fortitude of being a type of individual that just, plows through stuff headstrong, no matter what, you get it done. I mean, obviously you need those traits. That's 100% factor that you have to have included in your abilities if you're going to be in any way successful at anything. But there is something more that I want to add on to that, and that's why I'm making this video. And it all starts back when I first started playing guitar. I had a guitar teacher who I guess you could say was sort of less than motivational. I was around 8 years old. The year was probably like 1977 or something like that. And a friend of mine at elementary school, he had a guitar with him sometimes, and I said, you taking lessons or something? What's up with that? And he told me he was, and he had this great teacher he really liked, and this guy came to his house and all this stuff, and he really enjoyed it. So I thought, that sounds cool. I'd like to try that. Asked my parents, and they said, yeah, sure, that sounds fine with us. I had taken piano lessons previously, never really got too headstrong into piano. Tried doing a little bit of drums for a while. That really wasn't my thing either, never locked down on that. But I wanted to give guitar a try, so I got that teacher, lined up. He was a guy that came to your house, one of those kind of things. So, he would show me just stuff out of a book. I think the book was called The Alfred Method of Guitar. I believe that's the name. I might be wrong, but I believe that was something to that effect. So I'm just going off of my memory here. I'm sure if you Googled it, you could figure out what it was exactly that I was looking at. But yeah, that's all he did. He never showed me anything other, never really talked to me about how the guitar was laid out as an instrument, never really bothered much with technique. He'd kind of just say, to try this if I was putting my finger down on a note and it wasn't clear. He'd say, just try this instead, move your finger over like this instead. And it was kind of like that kind of instruction. He was an older guy, I'd guess, and maybe he was 60 years old, I guess, and he didn't seem too into it. Just didn't seem like it was just something he did in the evening, and I don't even know what he had for a regular job. So it got pretty boring. I actually stuck it out though for a couple of years. I really wanted to learn how to play guitar, but all I did was plunk around on the stuff out of this book. I completed, a book and a half's worth of the beginner's method stuff, and I just literally was so bored that and I had no one to talk to about it, and I gave up. I just totally packed it in. I was maybe about 10 years old or so, and I never touched it at all. I had that guitar because he sold a guitar to you, and I came back again when I was around 12, and I had a different friend at school who was kind of an interesting character. He was the kind of guy that was kind of like, from a hippie background, had hippie parents and stuff. And I knew him my whole life. Unfortunately, a few years back there, he got brain cancer, and he didn't last long. It was a real fast, thing. It took him really quick. I think he was dead in about 3 months. It was pretty awful, But I played guitar at his funeral. But he was the one that inspired me to pick it up again, because maybe it was just that sort of hippie background that he had or something, but he just made it seem fun. Like there was something more, like you could, he was really playing cover songs and stuff, and it just blew me away. It's like, geez, you could play songs that are on the radio. I don't know, for some reason it never even dawned on me that you could do that. I don't know why. I was just a kid, so I wasn't processing things like, I would today. But anyway, I picked it up. I went to the same, it was actually a music store that I went to, and I got a new teacher, a brand new guy, totally different characteristics and everything. He was the type of dude who was younger. He was maybe about 25 years old. He was in a band. He loved blues and rock, was heavy into Jimi Hendrix, Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath. And he just from day one, it was just like, hey, do you know how to play any riffs or licks? And, here, check this lick out, or here, check this riff idea out. And this is from Black Sabbath, and this is from Zeppelin, and, this is a band called The Who. It's, he showed me the riff for, Pinball Wizard, and, he'd talk about all this music, and he was kind of an interesting guy, and he loved Hendrix, and we would learn like, all kinds of stuff like that. And I didn't even open a book. In fact, I know maybe that wasn't a really good thing, because my theories suffered and my understanding for all that stuff really took a back seat. But I caught up on it later, in my later teens. But that's where the true inspiration started. And I think if those factors didn't come together in the right way, I don't know if I'd be into guitar doing what I do now, because it was so inspiring those years of like being able to learn songs that were on the radio and that were popular and other people knew and I could play them. And I think what it comes down to, and what my message here almost of this video is that there's a fuel that has to be there in when you're burning that that fire that you got to be able to learn something. And it doesn't even have to just be guitar. It could be learning how to fix your motorcycle, or learning how to fix your car, or learning more about how to fix things in your house, like your plumbing or electrical, or doing drywall or painting or any of this stuff. Like you have to have that fuel there. You have to have somebody around and inspire you and say, yeah, try this, do this, this, it's easy. I remember when I first bought my old house that I have, there was just loads of things wrong with it. It's an old home. It was built in 1911. And there was this guy that was helping me fix it up when I first got it, because it was really beat up when I got it. I got the house just dirt cheap. And, I'd ask, he was a drywall guy, but I'd say to him, hey, do you know anything about plumbing? I got a plumbing leak in the downstairs bathroom. He'd be like, yeah, man, I'm a plumber. He just no fear. He'd go and, do this, do that with this, crank this on this way. The one thing you got to know about plumbing is this and that and whatever. And so it was, being around the right person that fuels the fire right for you, it makes all the difference in the world. There's that saying, I'm trying to remember it, you become what you're around. That saying is huge. Like if you're around losers that just are doing nothing, there's a pretty good chance you're going to be a loser, not amount to much of anything. And then there's that other saying, it's hard to fly, or it's hard to soar like an eagle if you're surrounded by a bunch of turkeys, or something. It's something like that anyway. I'm sure you could Google it and get the right quote on that. And I don't know who said any of these things. I just remember these things as stuck in my head. So, if you're around people who make bad choices, who maybe don't have inspiration, who aren't, happening, probably that's going to feed off on you. I mean, when I was a young teenager, I was around 15, I met this guy, and, I thought he was kind of cool. I thought he was sort of funny, that sort of thing. And it was just like, there's just constantly we were getting into, for the first time in my life, I was getting into trouble all the time. Cops were coming around my house. I got arrested because of this guy, and just doing stupid stuff that I would never have been doing if it wasn't for him, and it's just like those people are like a black cloud around you. They just drag you down into their level. And it's the exact opposite for those kinds of people who are super inspiring or just, ready to try things new that are excellent and, just wanting to get ahead and do things that are really right on instead of doing stuff that's stupid, So, I mean, you have to find out who the people are that you can get around who are going to help you and make you more successful and keep that fire burning, and it's the exact opposite for people that will put the fire out. I mean, there's people that are they'll drown you in just stupidity and, just kind of ruin things for you, might even, drag you down for several years. I certainly have met people like that. And, there's years, even in my 20s, bands I was in, people I hung around with that I just, they were just not happening. They weren't doing things that were really excelling. Instead they were doing things that were just dragging, me down with them. And I luckily, I most of the time would see it, I think, through that first old friend I had when I was just like 15 or something, where he was getting us in trouble and, with the police and stuff. I think I learned a lot of lessons from that situation. And then when other things would start to happen when I was in my 20s, it would be like, okay, I can see the path that this is leading down, and it's that one, and it sucks. So time to change gears. I even had situations, I had a house years ago where I was renting rooms out, and then I found out one of the guys that I was renting an upstairs room to was smoking crack up there, and I didn't even know what was going on. I was like, I found all the spoons in the house were missing at some point, because it was like kind of communal living. I had rooms that I rented out. I even had a room I rented out in the basement. I was making good side hustle cash doing that, but it came at a price because one of those guys was an idiot. So I had to kick him out. And I'll tell you, man, that did not go well. That was not a good situation. When you have to kick people out of a place, they don't like it. And they don't like you for a while as well. So, but it's all par for the course. If you want to keep your fuel of your fire going, you've got to get with the right people that are going to keep that flame happening. And if you don't, the fire can go out, and that's not good for your life. We're only on this planet for a very short period of time. And in that time, you got to make it mean something, So I guess in wrapping this video up, because I don't want to make it too long, you have to make sure the people you hang out with are going to keep that fire burning, and they're people of substance and not people that are going to drag you down. You have to have people around you that motivate you and that make you a better person at what you're doing. And when you find those people, you cultivate friendships with them, because especially if it's like when you're older, after you get through your mid-30s and you hit into your 40s, you should already be a pretty happening, settled person and have your stuff together, especially your finances together, and invest and have cash flow from other situations, and make sure that you've got your bearings straight by that point in your life. It's huge. And if you're hanging around with losers, it's a very good chance that you may not achieve that by that stage of life. So if you push yourself to succeed, that's great and that's excellent, but it also has to do with the people that are around you and how they're going to help you keep that fire burning, because it's not hard for the fire to go out and for you to quit, and you just don't want that to happen. So I think I'm going to wrap things up. I think you got the message, to just stay away from those people that could drag you down. Get around and cultivate friendships with people who are going to lift you up. Basically, that's the message of today. So I'm going to wrap this video. Make sure you check out my main channel, youtube.com at Creative Guitar Studio, and tomorrow is going to be the release of that guitar lick lesson. It's going to be a nice one. I'm really happy with it. It's talking a lot about this, the way this lick functions along the span of the neck, and then how you can convert it from major to minor very, very easily. So got some good stuff in that one. It's short. Those Friday Patreon Plus lessons are really short. They're only I think this one's only 5 minutes long. And then all the handout stuff is available over on my Patreon. You can just go to patreon.com/Creative Guitar Studio. All the handouts are there for every level. So even if you're paying $3 a month as a support level, you're still going to get that Friday Patreon Plus. Every level gets it. The $15 a month, though, you get all the extra lessons that I'm putting out on Wednesdays and Sundays on the channel. So just check all that stuff out. Remember, too, Handouts Collection ebook offer that I got on the website at creativeguitarstudio.com. It's a great ebook. You could get it for as little as $5. It's 100 pages, and it covers a ton of information. You're going to learn a lot in that 100-page ebook. And on top of that, of course, there's the creativeguitarstudio.com lessons. So check those out in the courses section, because our core curriculum is the best, I think, on the internet. And then on top of that, there's all the electives. Still, to this day, the #1 elective on there. Well, it's kind of almost a tie, but it's like acoustic guitar and guitar technique, and then followed closely by guitar soloing. Those courses are excellent, and they're always real busy. People love taking them. So check all the stuff out that I got online, and I will wrap this video up now. Thanks for joining me, and we'll catch up next time for another one of these chat videos where I try to spread some good information and get some good thoughts and ideas out there for you guys. So thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.